Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. What is going on, everybody? Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're getting ready. Troy, what's going on? To look at the markets, and what an appropriate comment. It has that Friday feeling. Why is that? But there's still plenty of trading. For real, we got a big session right here of analysis, and then we could have some opportunity overnight. That's for sure. So let's take a look at what's going on. We're going to take a look at the markets, which equity markets, by the way, are just pretty much unchanged, with the Nasdaq a little bit bid, but giving back earlier gains. So again, we're just chartists. At the end of the day, we love the macro. We love learning, finding out what's going on, putting the fundamentals all together. But at the end of the day, we are technicians. Obviously, Nasdaq, this is not a double top, is putting together structurally really nice. This looks uber bull, and it is. This thing is absolutely making new all times over here. Continues to look good. What's more interesting, yesterday, look at the Dow. Right? If it breaks this last swing high over here, this resistance at 27,058, then and look back over there also. So it's a nice big level over here, and it looks like that it has the potential. It looks like it has the potential to even trade above and then test the June highs. That would be a really positive development for the markets in general. You don't know, Tesla beat earnings yesterday. Microsoft beat, but did not guide well forward. Is that what happened with Microsoft? I know Microsoft sold off on their earnings. That's more of a test of what's going on there in tech, Microsoft, than Amazon is. But Amazon beat. Amazon's going to be probably most likely included to the S&P 500. What do they have? They have a $300 billion market cap. Could they not include it in the S&P if it qualifies? I doubt it. And we could see prices continue to run up. Seasonally is something I want to talk about over here. What's been happening over here on the S&P 500, right? Missed on their cloud service. That's not good. On the S&P 500, right? Listen, no one is looking to sell or pick a top or anything like that. Continues to be buy off supports. Yesterday, some people in here were looking at this buy signal and took it off of the 3232 support. That's a good entry and a good trade. Haven't come yet into the resistance. Some traders also looking to extend this over here, right? But this is the trend line resistance. But this is more important. This red 3320 horizontal resistance. Keep your eye on that. Our goal. Oh, Murray, that's the question of the day. But I appreciate that as well, buddy. But that's the question of the day, and let's take a look at that. So to do that, let's start here with the Euro US dollar. Just for a little context, here's what I'm looking at on the Euro US dollar, right? And you can see that I'm watching this trend line over here, the angle of this. And then we started going parabolic, and I use that term very loosely here, like a move like this straight up. So I started going like this, putting this line just to look for first indication this is breaking. What it looks like to me is going to be happening is that there's a pretty good chance, whether it happens over here and we just continue to consolidate, most likely to this trend line over here, or even possibly down over here into this trend line over here. That would look something like this over here. The big move up. You see the big move up, consolidating before the next leg up. So have we entered that period of consolidation before we take a run at the resistance ahead? That could be. Let's look at silver right now and find out where the resistance is ahead, where it could be lining up to. This looks like at any point into this resistance over here, this 12-year trend line coming in around 1.17. Up until then, this thing could continue to extend out further with this move. If it breaches this little trend line here, then odds are it's coming into this trend line. If it breaches this one, then I think we're coming all the way into the big one. That anytime you come into that big trend line until it breaks, that has to be, you're looking for a nice intermediate, you're looking for a nice buy. And same thing, once that trend line breaks, this upward movement on the euro US dollar might be coming to a close. That probably, if that happens, will be off of a rejection of this trend line over here. So let's look at silver. The reason I brought that up is to show you how after that big up move on the euro US dollar, that it was consolidating. Like over here, you see this big up move. This is what consolidation looked like. It looked like another higher high. And then after that, it pulled down into support, and then it consolidated over here until it hit the trend line, right? And then that was the beginning. Here's another retest of that trend line. And then this thing took off. Silver is just went ahead and is gone. And I use that term loosely again, parabolic. Again, 1892 support. That's support that and below that, back down into the 1750 level, right? That's where everyone here was leaning in to silver. What about right over here now? This looks like either one of two things is happening. Either we're going to see this rise out of here and continue to make higher highs, even though it's already way extended, and maybe even coming up towards and testing the 2472 area, right? That's possible. That just like if the euro US dollar extends over there. Now, what happens if we see maybe a higher high over here, like a little bit of a higher high, and then a little bit of a sell-off? Is it possible that we have a little bit further here? Don't short silver. That's ridiculous. It's I believe the best entry into silver is not something I could have done if it had a buy order in 7% off the high. Anytime silver's off 7%, I'll step in, and if it goes off, 12 or 15, I'll buy more. But so I think it could go further, but I think it's coming towards a little period here where it's going to look to consolidate. So you have to watch it. Like I said, today's analysis is actually setting up a big day ahead. So I've taken profits this week. I haven't placed any new trades, but these next 24 hours might be the time when I do this week. So, we have to keep watching this. At the end of the day, it's still a dollar story, and the dollar is still really weak over here. Look, this is the blue line, 95.47. As long as we're below that, we're looking for further downward pressure here on the dollar. And if you go, when I say it's all dependent on the dollar, here's like a little trend line also, right? As long as the scope of that trend line is holding, as you come into that resistance over here, this is all sells. That's all sells, and looking for further lows here on the dollar until we break up. If we break above that blue line over here, then that means that most likely we're testing the resistance at 95.84, right? That's a big level. If that one breaks, then this dollar weakness could be over for the interim. When I say that it's dependent on the dollar, you have silver rising, gold rising, Bitcoin not yet. And when I say that loosely, right? Bitcoin is 144 or 140% off its lows, off its March lows. Silver is off, almost 100%, right? I'm not sure what gold is. But gold is just behind silver. It's just lagging silver right now. So this is all because of what's going on here on the dollar, right? As well as it's keeping that bid in the equity markets. Now we are looking, just so we have like a bit of an awareness this morning, we're looking for this continued. We're looking for a run into this 33.20 area sometime over the next week, and then late July to the first few weeks of August, seasonally, and I'm not a seasonally trader, but seasonally, right, as is this run up into July, something that does occur over the past 5, 10, and 15 years, and and it's occurring again. We'll be cautious because we are in some overbought areas. It'll be interesting to see in that time over the next week what the Dow is able to do. Is the Dow able to go ahead and test the June high or not? Does it make a lower low? Do we come in? We're going to be watching it all, but we are now, and I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit crazy, because I look around and I know I'm not, but I look around and, everyone is just like, they first of all, they think silver's too high. They think gold's too high. They think that, the Nasdaq's too high, and, they continually out there shorting these things. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm bullish, and I maintain a really bullish posture, and I see that everyone, like, no one else is maybe Davey the day trader. He's like, that guy is super bullish. You guys have seen clips, right? And the Barstool, fantastic, but the kid's right, and he's on the right side of the market. So here we are. Let me catch up on some comments as I take a sip. We got matcha tea today. Nice. Yeah, Brian, absolutely. Oh, I wanted to talk about that really quick. I had that, we had, for the first time in 16 weeks, we've seen an acceleration in the jobless claims over here, actually. And what does that mean, right? Because you have the $600 checks running out. The $600 CARES Act bonuses are stopping at the end of this month, right? What is going to happen with more and more people coming out of work over here? There's something else I wanted to show you. This is, speaking of bubbles, right? So you could go back to the dot-com bubble, right? You're looking at the big three: Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, okay? And then here you are right now. But, from my experience, each bubble gets bigger than the other. It's like the bubble starts after it takes out the last bubble high. That's when the bubble gets going, right? This is not the bubble. This is the recovery, right? All that's the recovery. The bubble gets going after you take out the last bubble highs. Each bubble is blown bigger. That's the camp I'm in. So I thought I'd share that with you. I want to see if anything was going on with Twitter. Yeah. So this is Sven. And by the way, the last time that I was really sharing anything from Sven, he's on Twitter at Northman Trader, was when back in late February, when this thing started rolling over, early March, because Sven is fantastic to watch at market tops. His technical analysis is 100% geared towards that. He's always looking for the top. Now, that all being said, he also cleared out a little, this is where he got rid of his short position in this area over here. He got out a little bit early, but he was able to call the top beautifully, and he will be able to do that again. I shared a video clip with you with Raul Powell of Real Vision talking with Sven. Both of them are really, Sven's a perma bear. Raul is looking for this market to top off and come back down and test and break the March lows. But both of them are like, you cannot short this market. You just cannot short this market. There's nothing to short. There's zero technical signal giving you any indication that this market is rolling over and or it's time to short it. So I do what I do. What I'm trying to do is really just try to offer my analysis of the markets, how I see it, share it with all of you, and hopefully that is able then, as you do the same thing with your own, to benefit you and help you make better decisions. I hope that it does offer that benefit. I know it's a blast for me to be going over all this stuff together. Are we consolidating in the pound Swiss franc? Are we going to be consolidating everywhere? All right. Oh, excellent, David. I would love to see this. I will be looking for this. Posted a tweet that his dollar bull bias seems shook. Well, that's great if Raul is, changes his mind. That's the whole thing about being an investor and a trader, is that you have to be very quick to be able to change your mind in an instant once proven wrong or different. So I'm interested in reading that from Raul. But I saw something on Real Vision that was released yesterday, and it is talked about. It was called the dollar doldrums, and it talks about how we should start seeing perhaps a rise in the dollar as early as September, and then in the first quarter of 2021 is when the dollar strength should come back. So always be aware of both sides of the argument. of both sides of the trade. Those are two: Real Vision, Dollar Doldrums, and then we'll check out Raul's Twitter. I'll look at that in the afternoon in the video for sure for those who don't get a chance. And we'll take a look at to see if his stance is actually changing, where he's looking for perhaps a period. A period could be, we'll see. It could be 2, 3, 5 years of dollar weakness before he returns to that dollar strength thesis that he understands and has worked out so well. Amir, what's going on? Amir. Ooh, raspberry matcha smoothie. Sounds delicious. I just go with the traditional ceremonial grade matcha myself. Yeah, that's the thing to think about right now. At the end of this, I believe UBI, Universal Basic Income, is implemented. We'll see. Getting the timeline, very tight is always the difficult part. You could get the general direction of the ship, though. It means more stimulus. That's right. Yeah, but it's going to be less this time, but more. Yeah, Jesse, a coffee drinker at heart. By the way, if I could sponsor this podcast, it would be definitely by the matcha Kori ceremonial grade tea that I drink and Blue Bottle coffee. Both of them my favorites. But alas, here we are. Maybe bubbles relative to economy. It's a good question about these bubble things, and I want to spend more and more time studying them as always. What's the next move on gold? So the next move on gold, is a test of the all-time high. I think as we come into this area here, did we just hit it? So going back over here, right? This is where I figured at any time reaching this point, which we did reach today, or we're basically at right now, right? To like up here, close to 2,000, a little under 2,000, anywhere between in that area. I think that we see a pretty pullback as we test and or break the all-time high on gold. I think that's going to get things get a little jittery. There could be a big pullback on gold. What is a big pullback on gold? That's the question. You're not going to see something like this, right? Like we saw in the crisis when you saw a 14%, call it a 15% pullback on gold, right? A little less than 15%. You're not going to see that. Will you see a 7% pullback from the all-time high on gold? Maybe. That would be a buying opportunity, for me. If we pull back 7% as the time that we come around, right? From here on in, I'm expecting, when I say here I'm in this whole area right there, I'm expecting gold to pull back and have been, right? Bitcoin the same. As Bitcoin comes into its all-time high, as it's testing, $19,481. Some place in this area, Bitcoin's going to come in, I think, for a 30% correction. I think it'll be a much lesser correction on gold. Maybe you get 7%. If you get a 5% correction, I think you got to be a buyer. So gold obviously will have its ups and downs. It's just making a powerful leg up. It's making a powerful leg up right now. There's going to be a period of consolidation. Gold will definitely trade off during that period. But long term, what are you thinking? And this is I don't know. I do know gold's going in bull market and it's just getting started, right? You haven't seen the bubble yet. It's not even a bubble. It's a transfer of money coming out of fiat, which is, getting less. The trust is dwindling rapidly and therefore going into gold. That soon is going to be a Bitcoin narrative and story, and it's going to be a big one over the next 18 months. Yesterday, the banks in the U.S. are now allowed to hold Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. What I just said to you yesterday in the U.S., banks are now allowed to hold cryptocurrency. I mean, if you're looking for a bullish signal, if Venmo and PayPal getting behind Bitcoin and offering Bitcoin, then hopefully the U.S. banks now going to be offering storage of cryptocurrency or holding it on their balance sheets as something that might get you going. You saw that big pop. A lot of people saw that big pop on Ethereum. Listen, when I talk about things that I'm doing with all of you, it's just to share what I'm doing. Don't follow what I'm doing. That's not a good strategy. What's a good strategy is taking the course, working through the course and learning how to make money in the markets. That's a good strategy. You could do that yourself. But some people heard that I made a purchase into Ethereum and then soon tagged along. I'm glad you spiked up there, but you got to. You could use my analysis to help, a firm, or say, oh, he's out of his mind, and I now see clearly the correct side of the trade. That's possible. If that happens, let me know, because at any time, if I'm not wrong, I would love to know. US dollar, Mexican peso. You could see looks like an area over here, a big one, right? You could see it looks like a big area over here, because any resumption off this is a time to pick up perhaps another short here against the US dollar. That's assuming we're going to break down over here, which, this pattern tends to do. This should be a downward break over here, and then that could bring in a nice trade. What's great and nice about that is where you're wrong really quickly. If you get the entry and then trade above this trend line, you have to get out of that trade early. You're no longer correct. That's a good one. Actually, I'm quite interested in that. I think today's going to be a day where I pick up some trades, which I haven't taken any new trades this week. So there's the next move on gold. The next move might be coming on Bitcoin, actually. The next move might be coming on Bitcoin. Maybe gold and silver are getting close here to taking a break. And we looked at on silver, that break could still come in quite a while higher, right? It is conceivable. It is conceivable that we test where? 2450? Yeah, on this spike up. Maybe even a little bit higher. Maybe even a little higher all the way into 26. That would be a big move, but that's entirely possible right now. This thing, while usually parabolic moves end in the reverse direction, this is not a parabolic move. This is properly repricing, and you're going to see soon we're going to see a consolidation, and it's going to be a bigger drawn out consolidation. Look at this fractal on the euro US dollar after the big move up, then this period of consolidation, right, before getting ready for the next leg up. And I think that's what we're in store for on the precious metals. And during that time, maybe that we see a rotation from these investors, a portion of physical metal investors into Bitcoin, and that might be this. We're in a weird situation. And again, I think this is going to prove that Bitcoin is not correlated at this moment in time to the markets. I think perhaps during, there's a chance, we're going to see what happens. If we do see any type of consolidation with a slow, perhaps down drift during the first few weeks here of August, what happens to Bitcoin? Does Bitcoin break its trend line over here and go into its bull market during that phase on its own? Right? And then it has a lot of catching up to do. If it is correlated to the S&P, it's lagging. So it has a lot of catching up to do if it is correlated, in fact, to the S&P to catch up to it. So we could see the S&P kind of cool off. We could see precious metals cool off, and then see Bitcoin start making its run. And once we break 10,400, we're going to come into 14,000 pretty quickly. Now, what happens if during these next few weeks? What happens if we do see a little bit of downward drift, profit taking, consolidation, just not too much activity in the equity markets? Will that be a drag also on Bitcoin? Is it possible that we come down and test something like since we broke out of this trend line, right? Since we broke back into this trend line, which we only broke out of, in my opinion, because of the crisis. Otherwise, we never would have broke out of it, right? Once we broke back into it, we've never tested it again. And there's still a high probability we do. or when I say high probability, I should say that there is a probability that we do, medium term probability that we can, and that would be looking like perhaps a move back towards 8,700. If that happens, that's some big support down there also, right? We'll see. That's probably where I would think the low would be on this move. If we break that support over there at 8,500, 8,550, does that open up perhaps 81 and then even something bigger? Yeah. If that was happening, I believe me, I'll be walking myself through it. I'll be looking at it. I'll be there as well to help offer my insight for you. But that's not doesn't seem what we're looking at right now. So I want to take a strong look at FX because I'm looking for some pullback. So I mean a 3% pullback on any time off the high on gold probably seems like a good entry. That puts you right in the area you're talking about. That puts you right in the area. Call it 1830 is a good place to step in. So by the way, and just so everyone, don't follow what I do, but what I'm doing is here on Ethereum, I'm going to be building in some positions over here. It's a small position, and I think that I think we're going to be breaking through 57, and I think that we're going to be testing up somewhere close to 795. And it gives me some time here to continue to build into that position. Same thing here with Linked and with Tezos, and I'm not giving them any type of price targets. This is more seasonal around the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin, the alt season, that I will just continue trading those in and then around. So you're talking like these are position trades we're talking about over here. All right. So these aren't swing trades. I'm going to be holding them for quite some time. Yeah, there's so many good brokers in the U.S. The U.S. obviously doesn't have as many choices in FX as other people from other countries who just have basically limitless options open to them. But there's fantastic brokers inside the U.S. such as Oanda FX Trade. They got an app for the Mac is really good for especially for beginners. Yet you got to do whatever your risk is. So Sharon, if you're risking, 1%, then you set your stop loss accordingly. You could stop your stop loss on silver, by the way. If I wanted to put my stop loss at silver at $16, I could still risk 1%. If I wanted to put my stop loss at silver at 1880, I could still risk 1%. And if I wanted to put my stop loss at silver at $21, I still risk 1%. The only thing that changes is your position size. Yeah, this is, Brian, there's a lot of people that are going to be and are suffering right now. I saw a video that made me sick to my stomach yesterday, and it was just on what the eviction process looks like for people. And literally, it just made me sick knowing that people with kids, are going through through that event of the sheriff coming and then kicking them out of the house. That is, there's a scene in The Big Short when Brad Pitt's character is really, he hates the markets. He hates the fact that, I don't know what he quoted, like a 1% drop in unemployment leads to like X amount of people going into poverty. Not fun stuff. Oh yeah, they're late. Yeah. We took a really good look at the Euro US dollar starting this live stream off over here. Let me turn back to it really quick. If you want to go back at any point to the beginning of the stream and you could watch this, you could get a really nice analysis of the Euro US dollar. But you could see, when you're looking at the US dollar, what you're looking at is the breakout of this trend line. That is, I'm going to give you a bigger overview. You got the breakout of that trend line. And now the target is this next resistance up here, right? That's the target. As you know, this looks uber bullish. I think we see further continuation. We're watching the dollar, right? Below that blue line, uber bearish for the dollar. Looking to see if we could take out these lows over here, right? And as long as we're above this trend line over here, below this trend line over here, that remains super. I'm selling in any resistance anytime I can. Continue taking positions against the dollar. And that's what the Euro US dollar is leaning into right now. It's actually now pulling back, right? Is this the pullback that you want to buy? I'm not adding to my position if the Euro breaks out over up here. Now, if the Euro were to come, back down a little further, maybe into 1.15 in that area over there, I would be looking to buy a resumption off for sure, as I would somewhere in this area over here. It's really interesting. This is really interesting. But this trend line I have over here at 1.145, also looking for that to hold. If the Euro broke that trend line, at that point, I would then be waiting for the steep pullback into this trend line before I was a buyer again on the Euro US dollar. So I would only be looking to add to my current position over here into this trend line or over here into this trend line. Notice that each of those trend lines, if price came back into this trend line right now, do you see that it's also, thank you for that. Could you see that that is support? If price comes into this trend line, it's also horizontal support. If price comes into this trend line over here, right? If price were to come down into that trend line over there, you could also see you got now over here, this horizontal support. So is it the trend line or the horizontal support? That's what I was trying to get to you. Is it the trend line or is it the horizontal support? Who knows? When they're both there, they're both there. Will Bitcoin, I don't know. I hope it never does again. No, I do hope it never does again. You could see over here on Bitcoin, by the way, if I just scroll out a little bit, these three circles, there's one circle, two circle, three circles. In 2 months, those are my last 3 trades on Bitcoin. Bought over here, telegraphed that, but a lot of you did also, these 2 buys. And then I was watching over here as we had not broken down out of that 9,000 level in quite a while. Seeing over here, this breakout to the upside, I got involved. And so far, playing out. Is it possible we trade below there? Yeah, I have a stop loss right there for those trades, right? I have a stop loss right there for those trades. Could even move that in if I feel like locking that in. I feel correlated but delayed. Yeah, that's that, Hector. That's actually very true when it comes to Bitcoin and the S&P, and it's correlated but delayed. Yep. Watch the channel. We go over them all the time, and we will continue. Did FX Choice just crash? Nope. FX Choice did not crash. Thoughts on Tesla? So, Tesla, as expected, beat earnings and continuing to rise here with the markets. If the markets all of a sudden come in over the next few weeks, do rest assured Tesla will be as well. I do use that as an opportunity perhaps to purchase more if and when the S&P is added, if and when Tesla is added to the S&P, and most likely it will be, Tesla should continue to rise up until it is actually listed. That's probably the day, to take your profits, the last of your profits on Tesla, and then look to, perhaps accumulate lower. That's generally just what happens as instruments are added to the S&P. A lot of people think, and all the hype is that, okay, as it gets added, all these fund managers will need to go ahead and purchase these shares of Tesla. Look, the quants have done the research. What happens is the rise continues actually until the day it's listed. That's an interim top. I don't think anything of oil right now. That you should stay away from it. And so if you go back to the videos on the channel, going back to January and February, we were talking about, as oil was trading at $58, we were looking at $35 oil. And that happened a lot quicker than we expected. That happened a lot quicker. And then from there, we said, all right, well, we're going to be looking at 24. And then when that came in just as quick, I said, all right, well, 22, And then after that, I said, if we break down from here, 1450, once we broke there, it was done. Like oil traded below 1450. I never expected that. So oil went, negative. And then started rebounding. And from then on in, from the day oil traded below 1450, we said, all right, it's time to stay away from it now. And that continues to be up until this day. And thankfully, no one is focused in on oil because oil's not doing anything, right? And the markets are exploding. So that's why I have not been focusing on oil at all. I want to focus your attention onto the greater flow of the market here. Like you gotta, it's like big current. There's a big, strong current, and you just want to be in the little donut riding on that current. Or you could have a little dinghy to get you in and out a little bit quicker, but you want to be going with the current and not just in some stale water. Yep. So I'm not the expert on that, and there are so many. So just search what you're looking for. I wish I could be listen, I'm a charts guy. I could just, I see and unravel the charts. Analysis is my thing. I really don't know when it comes into, I'm not interested in altcoins. Everyone knows that. I am interested in Bitcoin. I'm interested in gold. I'm interested in silver. Just Bitcoin's bull cycle is going to give Ethereum, and Ethereum will have many narratives. Their narrative right now is DeFi, decentralized finance, and it's amazing. I'm all about it. I can't wait until I could use those products because I do not like the legacy financial system at all. However, it's a long time before I will trust those DeFi products. And I don't trust them, and they're still in their very early stages of some complex problems being worked out, and that's awesome. And for anyone who's passionate about it and wants to learn as this is happening, this is it, and it's awesome. It's not my interest. My interest is in the overall financial system, the macro of it all, putting all those pieces together and profiting from it, from the charts. So anyway. I digress. Oh, okay. The back end, you're saying, of FX Choice is under maintenance. Yeah. So I have recommended exchanges in the description below for buying and trading Bitcoin. Oh, if they're not in the description, I will go ahead and I'll add that for you right now. I'm sorry. That should be in the description for you. If you go to any other video, on the channel, you'll see in the description below some recommended links. Do check them out. That's going to give you the best information, so and the quickest and easiest. So let me get that in there for you. I apologize for that. All right. That should do it. Boom, boom. All right. I'm really excited to get into FX, and it's been about 10 minutes since the U.S. markets have opened. Those have been added in now. You could get them there. That's cool. That's cool. I've actually, obviously I don't like the public markets too much, but the Webull app is 100 million times better than TD Ameritrade. Like a zillion times better. It's not even close. TY, take the course. Take the course. There's that link's also in the description now below. Yeah, we'll start off with the Euro Japanese yen for sure, and then we'll start looking at everything. Is Bitcoin? Noah, I've done extensive research also on the correlation between Bitcoin and the dollar, and it is highly correlated also to the dollar. Now, could we go through stages where you see, as we saw earlier this year in January, February, where you saw the dollar rising and gold rising? Could Bitcoin also be rising in that atmosphere in the future? 100%. If you look at the long-term picture, as the dollar has strengthened, that's also put pressure on Bitcoin. And as the dollar weakens, that should set Bitcoin off. Now, I say that, but you could see over the past weeks here, the dollar weakening and Bitcoin not rising. So those correlations are always over a long period of time. And, on a shorter time frame, these different assets could do lots of different things. Wow. That's terrible, TJ. So I'm sorry, just catching up with some comments, and then from that, I'm gonna go Enrique in that S&P trade. I'm gonna take a look at these FX pairs, starting with the Euro, Japanese yen. I just want to thank everyone for being here this morning with me. I appreciate the time spent. So you all know that. I just want to remind you of it. Natural gas, boom, boom. Trying to catch up over here. Oh, your MetaTrader 4 is not. Kevin, I'm not looking into it right now. Last I checked, mine was on. Nope. I mean, my friend back in 2002 used TradeStation. Yeah. Yeah. That's well summed up, Gary. That's well summed up. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, John. Thanks for hitting the like button. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I don't know anything about Thinkorswim. Yeah. And then we'll check out the New Zealand dollar, US dollar right after the euro, Japanese yen. Oh, is TradeStation linked to TradingView? That's a good solution. I mean, it doesn't sound like a better solution than Oanda to me. Oanda is a much better solution, I assume. But, TradeStation's TradeStation. I love you all. I love you all, especially those in the most need. That's for sure. Some of you are. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so let's check. Let's start with the Euro Japanese yen. Euro Japanese yesterday we looked at taking some profits over here early on, and now we can see that we're coming back down into this area over here. I have it marked as support because it was a resistance on the way up. Rather, it's now kind of support. I don't really see too much into that level. Let me just confirm that with you really quick. I'm going to probably erase that. But before I do, just let me check that out over here. And yeah, that's not much of a level. It came into play a little bit over there, right? But, and then again over here, I guess that's why I have it in there. So it's a small, tiny level, right? Is this, yeah, well, as we pull back into here now, 123, actually 60, exactly where that resistance I have in. And that's going to be the place now as we've tested. If we resume off, this offers another opportunity for a long entry on the Euro Japanese yen, right? I'm still holding the major portion of the position on that. Will I add to it? I don't know. I'm going to take a look around. So far, I've tagged the US dollar, Mexican peso. I'll come back to that. Why? Before we look at, what was it you wanted to look at over here? It was, thank you for smashing that like button. I do appreciate that. It was New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Before we look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, since we're looking at the Euro Japanese yen, I want to look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen also. Same things, same exact. These two are almost 100% correlated in the moment, are they not? Australian dollar and euro. And, which one are you going to take? I have open positions on both of them. So, I'm probably continuing to hold them. Am I going to add here if we break the? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I want to be sure about something if I'm getting involved. That's for sure. You'll also hear New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This looks nice over here, breaking out over here. Why I say it looks nice is we looked at the dollar index to start this off. Very clearly, we see that what we're looking at on the DXY is that we've pulled back. We're in this really strong downtrend, and we're just looking for resumptions. This right here, after breaking that resistance, coming back and tagging it here now as support, a resumption off, that opens up a buy signal, right? So is that something to consider? It actually looks more attractive to me than the two Japanese yen pairs, but that's also because I'm in them. Yeah. Me too, Thomas. Hey, that's a beautiful message. All right, thanks for sharing about that. Absolutely. Thanks for just letting me know. That's awesome. Glad to hear that. I hope you have a beautiful day as well. Do you hold funds in BlockFi interest account, or do you just use BlockFi to purchase Bitcoin? Both. If you purchase Bitcoin off BlockFi and are holding it on BlockFi, you're earning interest on that Bitcoin, 6% interest up to the first 5 Bitcoin. And then if you're holding just US dollars on BlockFi, you're earning 8.6% interest. Hey, thank you for that comment as well. I'm glad that I took a second here to read these comments. Two beautiful comments. Definitely appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for smashing the like button as well. Yep, Alana's link too. Yep. So again, there are in the link below. There are platforms that are recommended for buying and or selling Bitcoin. In Brad Pitt in the film The Big Short, the events leading up to the 2008 recession, where here's a number for you: for every 1% unemployed goes up, 40,000 people die. That's insane. Yeah. So why, Antonio, is a weird question you're asking. I want to highlight that because it's a very weird, unusual question. Actually, it's the first time I've ever said that since we've been live streaming together since November now, right? For a few quarters. That's totally irrelevant to you. It doesn't, you got there, Should you worry? Are you asking? Are you worried actually about holding money on BlockFi? Therefore, only hold a certain percentage. Any money you hold on an exchange or third party is a huge third party risk, and you have to be aware of that, right? So, do you want to put all your eggs in one basket? It depends on how many eggs you have. You know, if someone had maybe if someone had a half a Bitcoin, it makes a lot of, if my mom had even a few Bitcoin, it would make sense for her to hold them on BlockFi. I think so. It depends on your overall ability for able to keep, to be in charge of your own security, to know how to secure these things, know that you can't like place backups online, to know it's not complicated, but it's not as difficult as working maybe the remote of a TV, but it's all important stuff. Yeah, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that very much. So I want to continue painting this picture of what's going on over here, and that's what's going on in FX, because I do think the possibility that we're going to see. So, by the way, if you guys look, I love it because I'm looking at this program for the live streaming, and the way that it like highlights the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Like for this whole hour, there's someone that sits there and they hit the thumbs down and then they take it off. And then they hit the thumbs down and they take it off. And they hit the thumbs down and they take it off. And they hit the thumbs down and but it's really cool because on my end it's like it's like special effects. So anyway, yeah, I mean that's a way. I'm not sure that would. Yeah, I think the Winklevoss brothers do that. They did it. They do exactly that, and then they actually have half that paper stored in one in one place across the globe from the other, across the country from the other. Yeah. No, it's all beautiful. I mean, I love them the most. The people that are wounded the most, I have the most compassion for. That's for sure. United States dollar going down. Let's take a look at FX because I really want something to be set up over here, and we got some nice trading ahead of us. Someone's calling out. We're seeing a retrace here on the dollar. Notice that we don't get sucked in. We're looking the other way as price rises in that downtrend. We're looking that other way. And that looks good. Nice to see that trade coming back and holding firm. Bitcoin's still not participating. Is it getting ready? That is the question. So what are the markets doing after the markets are really consolidating pretty well, don't you think? right? Watch out though. If they can't go up, they will go down, right? If they can't go up, they will go down. And we'll look at that this afternoon. But I'm thinking that we have until sometime early next week, could be this week, could be early next week, that we're going to see the push over here into the 33.20. That might be the near term top for a while, unless we burst through it to the upside. You see, when we broke that trend line the last time, the reason I'm talking about this right now is because this is also setting the tone then for everything else that's going on. So when you saw this break here above the trend line, right? If we get a break above that trend line at that point, then you saw that boom, that new move. If that happens, we could be going and testing the all-time high on the S&P 500. That's not the base case. The base case will be a rejection over here, and then maybe a further retrace into the 32 support, or even lower. We could be coming down at that point and then testing somewhere over here as well. Those are the things that this could even be a long drawn out consolidation, even holding as high as the 32 support and not triggering maybe into late August or even early September. So those are things that we're kind of watching out for over here. The markets have been taking a big move this week. It's been a fantastic week. Been on the same waves all week. So when we said this morning that this looks like a Friday, just exit. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't be able to advise anyone on that. Yeah, you're selling. Wait, you're selling Bitcoin since 9,000, and Bitcoin's trading at 9,000, and you think it's a bad trade? Then get out of the trade. Get out of the trade. Exit right now. No, no, I don't. I want to so badly get into FX. I hope you guys are all enjoying the flow of the session this morning. It's always different. Here's where we are today. I'm enjoying it. And if I'm enjoying it, I hope that you're enjoying it. But the other day, I have to be honest, we had like, what do we had? We had like 450 likes on a session. That was phenomenal. As far as where to take profit over here on space, I don't know. The thing's going up straight, right? So the earliest thing you could possibly do, is wait for this to start making lower lows. I don't know where your entry is, but if it's above 2286, I would just keep letting this thing run, and then keep moving that up. Yep, that guy does not know. For sure, Fidelity Investments is an investor. It's on BlockFi's website. You'll see Fidelity Investments. But the customer support for Fidelity, I mean, man, well, I have no idea what they know about anything. There you go. Moving forward is a good place to go. So, my genuine thoughts on that is that in order to obtain wealth, you do not want to be diversified. In order to hold on to wealth, you want to be diversified. Warren Buffett's doing everything he can through these uncertain times to do one thing, and that's hold on to his wealth. He's doing everything correct. And you look at someone much younger and you're like, wait a second. Come on, they're all over tech. They're all over Bitcoin. They were actually buying knowing the Fed was coming in to go ahead and rescue asset prices. And Warren's just lagging with. Warren's just only trying to basically protect through diversification his wealth. The guy's not even beating the market, right? But that's the position he's in. If you're trying to obtain wealth, then you want to be actually less diversified. Yeah, I'm not. If you are looking at the New Zealand dollar US dollar and you're looking for an entry on New Zealand dollar US dollar, because right now you're pulling back into an area of support. As far as take profit, I mean, when I enter trades, I know where my stop loss is. I'm not looking for a take profit area. In that trade though, if you could see, if you get into New Zealand dollar US dollar, if you're adding to it, some of you have been buying off this support. Some of you bought over here. Now, as you come back down over here, if you resume up and you pick up an entry, you know, you're probably targeting, this is pretty big resistance above us over here. That's a big level, that 06789 level. You could see it, and it's a big level. There's a lot of supply over there. So, we'll see how much further we go here. You got it. Absolutely. I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to start looking at what's going on in the markets. I've given it an hour and it hasn't really moved or done anything. That's kind of where we're at. That's why it feels like, that mellow Friday morning. Markets maintain their bid, their bullish bias. That was the last entry some of you were looking at right over here at 266 on the S&P, targeting 3320. That's the target right now. It's the first time since over here when we look to target over here, right, in this area. This is the next time since the breakout that we're looking for a target. And the risk on the upside is becoming more and more, right? So we're just getting ready here for what's to come. We're still leaning in, only to the buy side. No one's looking to short, take profit. Yes, be aware, be very alert what happens into the resistance, the 3320 resistance coinciding with this trend line resistance as well. All right, so Euro US dollar climbing out nicely now back towards the highs of the session as the dollar has reversed from about a couple of hours before the New York opened. The dollar was trading at its highs of the day and has sharply reversed now. Now it has sharply reversed. So that trend that's in place is really strong. Australian dollar, US dollar. Are you looking here now? Are you looking for a resumption out to go long there? That's also obviously a possibility. Nothing screaming to me yet that I want to be involved. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. This looks good also now, pulling back now over here, testing some area of support. So there's definitely a big set of wave coming in. It's just a question of how long have we been out here already? Because we've been riding the same wave all week. And how much further do you think that we could go? Listen, if we could stay out here for a few more days, then there's waves to be had. And afterwards, we'll enjoy those tacos, right? First, let's earn them. But, I'm just trying to figure that out right now. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. What's leading, the currency markets or the equity markets? When I say that, look over here at the Dow and you can see off the June high, but look over here and testing that area once again. You look at the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, and it's off the high also, but it's trading low. So, are we going to see that rebound in the currency markets tomorrow? Or was the move we saw in the currency markets today, as we see that yen strengthen up a little bit, was that actually, are we going to see this type of action, of more of that two angled, or are we resuming up over here? That's the $1 million question. That's what we're watching. That's where price is right now. So we're just waiting. I'm just waiting, watching everything, seeing into. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of this tea. We should do a video on that, Joshua, a video dedicated 100% to that, because that's going to be a question that is going to be asked over and over again. And not only silver, it's the same thing on gold, and the same thing will be asked on Bitcoin as Bitcoin gets going. So that's not what we do in the trading course. That's not the systematic strategy used to profit from the foreign exchange markets. But in that type of market, when you're looking at an asset, on its way towards really a healthy bull market for every technical and fundamental reason, at that point, you might only want to be looking until the trend ends. And like I said, I spent a lot of time studying bubbles and how they end, how they burst. Because when you're in a bubble, right? If silver comes off 15%, do you buy? Because that's probably as far back as a pullback as you're going to see on silver. Or is that the end? Are we rolling over and we set to go down another 50%? It's a big decision to be made. Right now, though, we're just getting going, in my opinion. Of course, we could see continued setbacks on either one of these instruments. But those are the places you're looking to accumulate and buy long-term positions here for me. So we'll do a video on that later. I think that would be a good idea. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, we're still in the Aussies here. The Swiss franc, we spoke about this together and we talked about how in this environment, the Swiss franc was just making huge gains versus the Japanese yen. That has greatly continued. Euro, Australian dollar, this thing has gone sideways. Just stay away 100%. You could see it's been the majors, the US dollar pairs and or Japanese yen pairs that are trending. And these type of crosses, the minor crosses, are not. So Euro, Canadian dollar coming off the support, still not inviting. Nothing looks inviting yet. Euro, Swiss franc. Were people selling that resistance? That's a good trade, by the way. Anyone selling that resistance. That's a big, big, big resistance. Actually, that resistance goes back a couple of years, and that has been the resistance to lean into. If breaking above here, if we break above this resistance over here, just above us at 1.078549 and that trend line over here, does that start a reversal here of a bigger move to the upside? Most likely keep an eye on that, the Euro Swiss franc. Let's go ahead and highlight that because that's a trade that's shaping up that that might be something that I want to get involved in. That's for sure. Let me delete that. All right. I would like to end the day, though, this session at least, because we're only an hour in. It's a dollar story. Oh, that should be one of the... So if there are any other... My friend who put together the video intro that we use, he's going to do a full track for that song, and he wanted to put in some of the sayings that we use. Like, what's going on, everyone? Boom, boom. It's a dollar story. I think definitely belongs up there, and it should be pretty cool. Yeah, we've gone over Tesla ad nausea. Tesla's not the interesting thing in the market right now, so I just want to focus your attention away from Tesla. Tesla's not the interesting thing in the market right now. It just beat earnings. It's following the markets, right? Here we go. We have our plan. If you missed that, just go watch the beginning session. Watch the beginning of the session. Yeah, Charles, US dollar we started off the session talking about the Euro US dollar, and watch that. That's how we started this live stream off. The analysis is so good, and here we are, exactly where we think we should be. So tacos, definitely Wes will be included in that for sure. Catching a wave, Steve. That's a good one as well. Catching a wave. I should make a note of those two so we don't forget them. Those were two good ones we had over there. Bulbers bear, a bear eating a taco. We'd love to see an emoji of a bear eating a taco. Would love that one, by the way. Catching a wave. Riding the wave. The flow of the market. We're always with the flow of the market. Stalking the prey. Oh, we got some good ones here. Even in a trend, goes up, down. Waiting for the waves. Waiting for the next set of waves. It's a tacos day. I like that one. That's a great one. That's awesome. You guys killed it. It's a taco day. Remember the time of day. Beware of your surroundings. right? Just don't stalk. Be aware of everything that's going on around you. My thoughts on XRP. Let's take a look at XRP. It's been a while. It's been a while. Let's take a look at that over there. And please, Ash, smash the like button. Oh, that's a good one too. All right, you guys are fantastic. 331 likes. Thanks everyone for helping this channel by smashing that like button. Do appreciate your charity over there. So I feel worse for those whose moms didn't love them. That's the hardest wound in the heart. So over there you have the US dollar Mexican peso. By the way, what happens if we get a breakout of this trend line to the upside? That's opening up a big move to the resistance above as well. Watch out for that one. Right now myself though, as we come into this trend line, I'll be looking for a rejection down. That might be where I am interested in looking for some tacos right now. US dollar, Canadian dollar is actually broken down. Look at this. Who was watching this? This was a break of resistance or of support, right? And then watch as it's turned into resistance right there. Right there. It was tested and then shot back down. What a good opportunity there. There's always opportunity. I'm riding this short. I've taken profit just yesterday on this short and continue to hold this trade, looking for a continued breakdown on that weaker dollar. We'll see. Riding the waves. That's why there's no urgency to take new trades. The US dollar, I own GPTC inside the legacy system. Nice, Jonathan. Nice trade. I wish I got that one. That's a killer trade. No FOMO, right, Gemma? That's a good one to include. River, have a beautiful day as well. Thank you very much. US dollar, Mexican peso, watching it closely. Me too, always. So I'm glad that we've kept everyone on the sidelines here on the US dollar, Japanese yen too, because what a waste, right? Don't forget, how many years did Microsoft trade at like $22 or $24? You don't want to tie your money up for an extended period of time, right? New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, that's one to watch. It's so clean. I'll put it on the watch list. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Look at that. That's beautiful. That's coming into the broken trend line. Go back out, zoom out, and you can see that trend line goes back 5 years. We are just now testing that trend line. That is a pretty cool one. If that holds and resumes off, that's an entry. Nothing here going on. The New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, that's just in no man's land. We'll stay out of that. What about the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar? This is now testing also an area of support. What do you like better trading against, the Japanese yen or the Canadian dollar? For me in this environment, it's against the Japanese yen. I'm going to stick with New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. That's a nice setup to consider though also. That's a nice, Brian. So I feel like you've been here many times before. We're always looking at the US dollar, and I say this the correct way. I mean, if you're watching these videos regularly, you know with certainty what's going on with the US dollar better than anyone else in the world. How about that? For sure. So Brian, follow us. Watch the videos we do every day. We talk about the dollar in the morning and in the evening. All right? Trying to... Yeah, so Dylan, we really looked at this again earlier on the live stream. I wish that Google had the capacity to put in like auto timestamps, right? And like if I'm talking about the Euro US dollar, then puts in like the section of the video to go to where it talks about it. But we started off the video, and you should watch that, Dylan, also the beginning. Just pull back to where we start talking. We start on the Euro US dollar. We're looking here as this run up continues ever since breaking this trend line resistance over here. Everyone was long, right? a place to add over here. This continues up at a pretty strong angle, right? So as long as this move makes another high over here, we could see an extension all the way up into the resistance, the trend line, all the way up here at, call it 1.17 at any time. Notice at this moment in time how that level also coincides with that strong resistance right over here in that same exact area. So if we were to come into that area, we would then take profits. Is it possible to add to this position right up here, hoping to get that trade? That to me is a highly aggressive entry, and not one that I'm willing to take right now. I'm still holding a position, but I'm not willing to take another entry up there. Now, if we came back down into this trend line over here, right, and this at the same time, right now, that resistance over there, I would probably be looking to buy a resumption upwards. Or if we come back down into this trend line over here, right, if we come back down into that support and this trend line over here, I'm a buyer over there on a resumption upwards. So right now, I'm not looking to get on. I'm not looking to get over there. Yeah, and that was just technical, right, Dave? Because even this is what's the beauty of it. I was so bullish on the dollar. I was so bullish on the dollar, right? I was so bullish on the dollar. But as soon as we broke right here, as soon as we broke out of this channel to the downside right here, because just before, weeks before, we were getting ready to perhaps break up to the upside. I thought that was going to happen. I thought we were going to break out to the upside over there. I was ready for it. But once we broke down over here and look at the breakdown, the retest, do you all see that beautiful retest entry? High probability, safe entry, our textbook entry right there. But since then, that's when I have been bearish on the dollar because I'm a technician, right? I trade what's happening on the charts. I put together all the pieces as best I can because it helps. And when you get behind a trade, I was listening to this investors podcast yesterday, and it was talking about 4 different types of investors and pointing out to a Warren Buffett, to a Stanley Druckenmiller, different types of investing. And, at the end, they were like, by far the single best way to invest is 100% technical analysis being on the right side of the macro. That's exactly what we do here. Yeah. So by the way, is the Nasdaq breaking down over here? And again, if you've been looking for the Nasdaq to break down this whole time, you're going to continue to keep getting burnt over here. It's too soon to have any inclination or indication that the equity markets are breaking down over here. And if this is the top, and if the markets then collapsed over here in the next week, you had just been lucky because the markets are not breaking down at this point in time. To keep it simple, a breakdown of this 31.23 on the S&P 500 and this trend line over here that we see coinciding in the same place right now. That's the trend line that has been the guide to the bull market the whole time. As long as we're above there, we're not close to breaking down. On the contrary, we're going up. It's when we break that trend line, this right now 31.23 level, that we would say, all right, we're breaking down now. Now we're looking for some type of prolonged downside move, and we'll be all over that. That's awesome. Traders need to adapt, Zeno, and that's awesome, right? Trapped inside an IRA, right? I'm sure you've researched GBTC. We've talked about the Galaxy Fund. A lot of people, since we first mentioned that, Novogratz's Galaxy Fund, that was talk about timing. That all makes me happy. So what do I think about the correlation of the Fed's balance sheet and market movement? Where can I check future expansion of the balance sheet? If you watched last night's video, it's all tied to the Fed's balance sheet, but it's all tied to global liquidity. And if at any point in time liquidity becomes an issue, regardless of what the Fed's balance sheet is, the markets are going to come in and crash. Now, the Fed then reacts by expanding and inflating that balance sheet further at that point in time, which goes ahead and increases liquidity and therefore puts an end to the crisis. But at the same time, that has repercussions. Those repercussions are further devaluing of the purchasing power of the dollar and all fiat, because it's not just the Federal Reserve that participates in this behavior. It's all central banks across the world. You see that further devaluation of the dollar. Now, things have sped up. It looks like because of the COVID that the timeline has sped up further. The debt is increasing. The amount of debt is increasing astronomically. The balance sheet of the Fed is increasing. That, I pointed that out in the beginning of yesterday's afternoon upload. You have to follow the channel if you're interested in the markets. It's the best way. If you're not subscribed to the channel right now, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. It's an education, and I'm glad to share it with you and participate in with you. I learn from all of you. Thank you for the comments you guys leave on those afternoon videos. Always, always insightful. Boom, boom, boom. So, I mean, the S&P up on the day, and people are talking. I mean, the Nasdaq is up on the day, and we're hearing talks of it crashing. So, yeah. So it's a dollar story and remains a dollar story. And if we get another leg down on the dollar over here, if we take out this 94.63, is that what we need to continue this giant momentum we have? And it's giant momentum, and push us all the way into the resistance here and take profit? Will that propel the markets into the 33.20 resistance area and or above? Are we going to get a breakout over there? If you're not thinking that the markets could go ahead, the S&P could test the all-time highs anytime soon, you're not paying attention. It's just the question of when, in my opinion. And yeah, so we talked about Raul changing his mind this morning, perhaps on the dollar, as the situation is ever flowing and changing. And now Raul perhaps second thinking his bullish dollar stance. Whatever. That's what traders do. That's why he's successful, right? If we take out, if things change technically and we start breaking down, you'll have headlines on the uploads in the afternoon that the markets are breaking down. It's sell, sell, sell. Whatever the case may be, it'll be clear to all of that. Until then, let's say on the right side of that trade. I don't have the time for all that stuff though. I just don't have the time to do that. I do take my time and spend that here with you this morning and again in the afternoon. And and I'm grateful for your time. Thanks for being here with me. But what I do not do by any means is go ahead and is send out alerts on when I think you should buy the euro US dollar, because I was buying down over here. This is where I bought into the US dollar. We talked about adding over here. If you're not yet participating in the Conquering the Markets training course, do it right now. It's the best thing you can do. There's no question about it. It's the best thing you can do if you're interested in learning how to make money in the markets. So let me review a little bit of what I see going on here, which is not too much. I don't know why that euro Canadian dollar is still highlighted. That was over here when someone called out that entry over here. Again, our textbook entry over there. Euro, Swiss franc was someone looking to, if this breaks above, if we break out of this trend line over here, awesome. If we break out to the upside over here, I am looking to play this to the upside. I will be. That's a big, big trend. I love those long-term breakouts. We're involved in one of them right now on the euro US dollar. And the thing about the euro US dollar is that this could be leaning over the long term to go ahead and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad my children are so beautiful. Like they're just good kids. They have really beautiful hearts. I know it's from their mother. But it's so funny when some people just have that ugliness inside them. So anyway, as you come up over here, as we come into that trend line, that's a long-term place to look. Yeah, that you heard that. I say we're connected. You're ugly inside. Change that. So you got to go ahead and look for profit taking into that trend line. But hopefully beyond that, we're able to get a breakout. It is the possibility, and it's not going to be straight up. We're seeing that huge move on the US dollar, but it's not going to be straight down, most likely, right? Is it look like that we're possibly coming into this, take out this last touch over here in March? I do. I think that's where we're headed right now. I think ultimately that somewhere around 94, we might need to take a breather. That's what the moves we're looking for on the dollar. We're watching on the upside, right? And now we have our line over here to protect us. And this move was very stable and steady over here. And now it started really breaking down. So now we're watching for where that's bottoming in the near term as it begins to break down. Of course, this thing could keep going. We want to give it its ample room. We have these two things as a guide. Oh, just taking a sip, enjoying the ride. What else is going on? The New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. This is interesting if this area holds over here and we resume off. I'll be reviewing this myself this evening, the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, and I'll be seeing if it is offering anything that I'm interested, perhaps overnight. I'll be taking a look at it over London. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, also as with a further pullback on this pair. A further pullback would also be very interesting to me. Let me go ahead and move up that now support into that area. So watching both of those. US dollar, Mexican peso coming into an important area. If it's rejected over here, that might be an interesting place for me to gather a short. Now, are you in an uptrend? Yes. Right? Are you in a downtrend? Yes. If you're in an uptrend over here, are you buying off the support? I mean, if you wanted, I was not. I'm not under the current environment. If you break this trend line, at that point, it looks like that you have the possibility, right, of a first and initial move into 22.85, and then even perhaps further 23.20. So it's a good trade. That could be a good way if we do see the dollar, which is now expanding downwards, right? If we see the dollar as it's, again, steady, expanding down, if it then shoots up, the US dollar, Mexican peso might be the place to play that to the long side. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, I just had that highlighted and took that off. Yeah, that's also coming down into an area over here where it's interesting if it resumes out of this to buy, right? Because you could see here the perfect bull flag. This is the resistance. It's now support. If this area holds and you resume off, that's a good looking entry. The question is, do you want to play long New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, or New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, or New Zealand dollar, US dollar? That's the decision that needs to be made if you're taking that. I don't see anything else. I'm not going to force it going into a Friday, but if it's there, I'll take it. So the markets are not crashing, by the way. The markets are not crashing. It's a dollar story right now and continues to be. Bitcoin could get interesting today. If Bitcoin starts taking out the overnight high, then we could see a nice move up into Bitcoin, perhaps into the resistance. 98 is becoming a big number here on Bitcoin. A break above it sets off the bull market. We are just a few $100s from setting off the bull market in Bitcoin. Wow. We are just so beautiful to be here. Listen, it's all about patience. It's all about patience. But those that have been with us and continually learn, see how well so far this has been maneuvered and traded. Can't wait. Either could I. Can't wait. And I just, I'm going to do my best as I've at this point in time. I don't know. It's so funny. Do you think that as the Bitcoin bull market starts taking off, like as Bitcoin breaks As Bitcoin breaks $50,000 and comes into $70,000, what do you think that my reaction is going to be? Right? Am I not going to talk about Bitcoin at all? I assure you, I will help everyone when it's time to position out of Bitcoin. That's for sure. You know that. But I wonder. I will not be discussing Bitcoin with friends and family. I've prepared everyone. I want to look at Plan B stock to flow with you really quick, and I want you to see the one chart, the pirate map. This one right over here. This is the pirate map. We're in right now on the second red dot over here. That means we are just past the halving over here. The halving took place beginning of May. I honestly don't know. Does anyone know? Was it May 10th or May 11th? When was the 2020 Bitcoin halving? And we are getting ready towards this section of acceleration, right? From where we turn red and red starts to go orange up until orange starts to go yellow and yellow over here. So we're in this portion of the section over here and we're about to go. Please don't spam the channel. That's your first and last and only. Oh, well. Oh, well. Yep. Oh, well. It was a good day. It was a good day up until then, but what are you going to do, right? Everyone is able to make their own choices. Everyone's able to make their own choices. Make them good ones. Yeah. You read the Market and the New Market Wizards, right? Also, River, you've read the New Market Wizards also then, assuming. Amazing read. Remnants of a stock operator. Just as good, if not better. I don't know which one's better. Let me go back to Bitcoin as it was moving up over there. Rejected already. That's where I want it. That's where I want it. Think about it. We are only 350. We'll call it $400 off the Bitcoin bull market beginning. $400. You got it. Absolutely. So that's where we're at. All I could say is right now the markets are not crashing. We have Nasdaq down 0.25%, S&P down 0.25%, down 0.5%. All right. Markets maintaining that flow. Silver also, by the way, a lot of people, do you want to buy silver here? That's an aggressive buy, right? It's an aggressive buy. At this point, buying down there off 7% at $21.40 early in this week, that would have been a great ad. I wish I could have done it. But when these things go up and then go down, right? Usually a parabolic moves ends badly. That's not a parabolic move. The moves that we're seeing are not parabolic moves. I just want everyone to really understand that. Like, this is what a parabolic move looks like on Bitcoin. So get ready, because this is over a 12-day period. Bitcoin doubling in price over a 12-day period. That's going parabolic. Silver, not even close to any type of price action like that. Silver has gone up. Let's take a look at what the last move went from. We went from a price of 18 to 22. A big move on silver, but not by any means parabolic. Yeah, I'm always learning. Also 20 years in, I'm learning every day. That's what I do here with y'all. Why don't I have any interest in the pound? I do. I have made a lot of money trading off the pound over the last several months. That's not the case that I'm not interested in the pound at all. Right? It's just that, where are we going? We've had some big moves on the pound recently. That was going back to the fall over here. And then we had some big moves again, but right now the pound is not someplace I've been focusing my attention, and with good reason. I mean, the pound and the euro have both been leading, but I do prefer the euro trade, which is a lot cleaner and a lot better. Like both the euro and the pound have been appreciating nicely against this dollar weakness, but the play has been on the euro, technically, not on the pound. So I'm focused over on the euro. Australian dollar in this environment, yeah, that's risk on over here. Commodity prices. That's where that's time to be long the Australian dollar. That's why it's attractive. British pound. There's a lot of uncertainty on the pound, right? What's happening with the Greek exit at the end of the year? It's just not really that exciting right now. Will that change at the end of the year if there's any volatility leading up until the showdown? Yeah, and then we'll be involved with it. But same thing with oil. I've been ignoring oil, which I was very active in the beginning of the year on trading, and it's sideways. And I've also been avoiding the US dollar, Japanese yen, and that's also sideways. When it tried to break out, we tried to get a piece of it and then backed off since. So just right now, the pound is not that exciting for me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, why I do think the Nasdaq 100 is probably in this environment a good place to be invested. I think tech is risky. I was talking to my 18-year-old nephew yesterday in the family chat, and he's really interested in Tesla, and he made some money off Tesla. Maybe he sold too soon. Can you imagine if you were 18 years old? I mean, if he made a couple of $1,000s on Tesla, but I don't know how much money he was working with, but maybe has he just held Tesla for the next 15 years? He could probably do anything he wants in his life, or has the opportunity. Better Bitcoin. He thinks Bitcoin's risky though. He thinks he's invested in Tesla and thinks Bitcoin is risky. It's tough. That would be I think a no deal Break exit, in my opinion, would be the best thing for the pound. It would free them up to be able to negotiate trade deals. It might see an impact negatively at first against the pound, but ultimately I think that would be the best situation for the pound, a no deal Break exit. I think any type of deal would benefit the euro the most. How long have we been on? We've been on this stream about 90 minutes. I can't even get a count. Yeah, about 90 minutes. It's been a good one. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not, it's so funny. I'm not a fan of uncertainty at all. As an investor, as a trader, I do not like uncertainty. So as a young one, I thought different. I thought that's what you needed to make money. That's not true at all. You're looking for as much certainty as you could put together. And then timing is everything over here. Again, just to reiterate, the markets are not crashing. The markets are not crashing. I want to keep everyone on the same side of the trade. The dollar here, as we come in to the London close, if that makes another leg down over here, if that makes a big move, again, it's all about the dollar. So we'll see. I'm not seeing any signs that this current dollar weakness should come to any type of conclusion anytime soon. We're watching this trend line over here. It's an important one right now. This blue line and that trend line over there, those are our guides that we're watching right now. Markets are not crashing. That should be one right there, right? I'm going to add that one. No, he sold, Andre. Though he sold, he made some money on Tesla, and he sold it. And then he said, maybe I should have held it much longer because price has gone up, since. And, my brother told him, you can't go wrong taking profits. I don't know. I wonder about that. At his age, at 18, I would be buying whatever I'm buying with the mindset that I'm holding that for 20 years. 20 years later, I'll understand that I'm not getting rid of that, and I'm just going to continue to hold that. Right? I don't know. That's what I think. That's amazing if Tesla has a 10K in it. We'll see. We'll see. We are following the flow of the market. That's for sure. And we're watching. I think this thing is just getting started. I feel like I'm eating crazy cakes, but I feel like this is a bubble. But the bubble's just beginning. When I say I feel like I'm eating crazy cakes because everyone's against it. But then again, I look to people that I actually look to would be like Sven or Raul. And those two guys who are bears are all of a sudden, there's no way I would sell this market, right? So normally what happens, by the way, with Tesla, or at least this is what I am under the impression of that is going to happen, is that normally when an instrument is added to the S&P 500, it's the period up until that it's added that it actually rises. It's actually the date of the inclusion that is the near-term top. Wow. Right. That is 100% correct. That's why I will make sure my kids do. I was never taught that. I could go back on my life experience and go back to when, Amazon was trading at $3 20 years ago, when I bought the Facebook IPO, when I bought the Google IPO, and I remember selling those for profit thinking I did a good job. But each one of those investments would have been multi-million-dollar investments had I held them for 20 years. So I don't know what the schools are teaching, but I don't know why the schools are not teaching about money and compounding and time and finance. Well, the thing about that is what caused that greatest, the fastest, even adding to that statement, maybe it's a new bull market after the fastest bear market in history. It is nuts. And coming off the longest bull market in history. So you have the longest 12-year bull market in history, followed by the shortest bear market in history, followed by a new bull market. How could that happen? That doesn't sound natural. That doesn't sound right. Well, you're right. Because what caused that first 12-year bull market, the longest one in history, was the Fed leaning in over here and doing QE. That's what started that 12-year bull market. And what happened over here at the end of the fastest bear market in history, the Fed leaned in with some massive QE again. So do I think that this bull market is just starting? Well, I think that you would need to be crazy to think that this bubble is about to burst and is too high. Well, so Brandon, I could talk about that in the context of, again, I'm coming from understanding what the Bitcoin 4-year cycle looks like, and understanding that causes an alt season inside altcoins as well, which starts 6 months after the Bitcoin halving. We're 3 months past the Bitcoin halving. In about 3 months, we should be in the start of alt season. And of course, we've seen signs of that already, but it's not yet alt season. Yeah, and you're not seeing 15, 20. I guess you are seeing those type of gains, especially on DeFi altcoins probably right now. You saw Ethereum jump 8% last night. So as this continues to goes up and takes out the 358 level, I'll be adding more to this position. And then as that continues to goes up and it takes out 520, I'll be adding more as it's going up, and I'll be adding more. And then there'll come a point where I'll stop adding and I'll just ride it, and then I'll figure out where I'm taking profits. Ultimately, I have no idea to what price Ethereum is going to. It's all I'm basing it all around the alt season cycle, based around Bitcoin's 4-year cycle. I don't sell. I've never sold an option in my entire life. Traded an option. Buy strength, sell weakness. No, they're not contrarian. They're saying you can't. No, they're the ones that are looking for the bear signal, but they're not. How bad would they look? That why in this situation, if they were saying the people should be selling, that would be reckless. That would be absolutely reckless. They don't have to participate in the upside because Raul is heavily into gold, heavily into silver, heavily into Bitcoin. Now has taken on also some altcoin positions. He's invested for the trade of the best trade he could be in. He's involved in as well, right? So he doesn't need to participate in equity markets. Equity markets are the riskiest trade I think that you could be in personally at this point. My nephew thinks that it's risky to invest into Bitcoin, but he's buying equities. I think it's risky right now. So when you talk about the zombie corporation issue, the thing about it is those zombie corporations with rates at zero could go on for basically ever. To keep those zombie corporations afloat is no strain on anything whatsoever. De nada, JC. De nada, con gusto. I don't know. I just bought Ethereum this week. That's awesome. That's what changes lives right there, Andre. That's what changes life, teaching the youth, teaching them even more so about investing and finance. That's changing lives over there. This is a weird question for me. When you say that you bought at 110, did you buy at 110 during this recent bear market? Or did you buy at 110 on the way up the first time? Because if I bought Ethereum at 110, I would not personally be looking to sell that until we were, working towards the winter of 2021. So, listen, you're the guy who bought it. Do your own research. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Stocks should go up. If the Fed prints another 3 trillion, will stocks continue to go up? I think they'll go on fire. I don't know what the Fed's plans are. The Fed doesn't tell us their plans, by the way. They're not telling us when they plan on injecting more money. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad I got to see that every session getting better and better. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, why that's very true. And I'll tell you right now, at the height of the bull market, will definitely be, offering my insight into where I am looking to position out of those assets, and I'm talking 18 months in the future from now, but I will be doing that. All right, everyone. Listen. Thank you, Rashad. Have a beautiful day, everyone. I'm going to go out with some music over here. I love going in and going out with it. We're going to go ahead and plug that in over here. Get that going on. Thank you for that. Some great comments today. That's why we're here together, lifting everyone up together. It has been a week full of tacos. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it. It was a fun session. Miguel, Brandon, thank you. Awesome to hear, Brandon. Awesome. P. Wow. Tom, love to hear that. Love it. We heard a bunch of those today. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for taking the time to share that with me. That means a lot. Ooh, Gary, positioning in. You too, Simon. Have a beautiful day. Thanks, Charles. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure. Insightful and entertaining. That's all. That's a good combo. I hope that continues. That's awesome. Lee, have a beautiful day. Jesse, brother, love. The best emoji I play in the entire community without reason. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. May God bless you all. Thank you for being here. I never got to play SimCity. Will, have a beautiful day over there. Yep. That's it. Oh, yeah, the matcha brand is right here. We got a picture of that right here. All right. Now that's Tesla. There we go. Matcha Corey. I'll type that in. It's the ceremonial grade. It's amazing. And I assume if you just get ceremonial grade of any matcha tea, you'd be good to go. Thank you. Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate it. And surf's up. It was a good one. Thanks for sharing that time with me. Lawrence, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thanks, Dave. Brad. Roman. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. Have a beautiful day, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow for more